Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year from the West Coast.
Happy New Year. Yes.
We're in Sacramento, California, where the Grizzlies will take on the Sacramento Kings and then close out the road trip against Golden State on Saturday. But for now, we're here for Night Court for the next 30 minutes and want to wish everyone a Happy New Year. Hope everybody had a great New Year. How was your New Year?
It was good. I spent it with you.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
The question is that.
Well, did you have fun, I hope?
Yeah, it was good, man. We had a good time. We had a great win that I know we're going to talk about.
That's right.
That kicked off tonight, and then we finished it with a good little team party.
Yeah, it was fun.
Team bonding. Families were there, and so it was good.
Yeah, it was cool, and it was free bar, so that was even better. It was awesome.
Yeah, for those who like to indulge.
For those who like to indulge when it's free, it was a perfect party. It was nice. It was nice. We welcome you to the show. This is Night Court. I'm Rob Fisher. I'm on Twitter at The Fish Nation. He's Brevin Knight. He's on Twitter at Brevin Knight 22. And yes, we want to look back at the last week for the Memphis Grizzlies, and we'll start the game before the road trip. It was the back-to-back with Toronto and New Orleans to start the road trip. And Toronto, one of those teams that you needed to take care of business. You need to win on the home floor. You need to beat teams like that. They were struggling. They had lost 8 in a row, and the Grizzlies took care of business. 155 points worth of business, 78 points in the first half. It was the Zach Edey game so far this season. It was just a man. They came out, took names, took care of business.
It was a stat stuffer night.
It was
for a lot of people. But it was because of what you said, they took care of business. It wasn't any, sometimes you get into those games and it's like, we up 20. I'm going to trick off this play. Don't worry about it. We'll get it back. They never did that.
Yeah.
And because of it, the league just kept growing and growing. I said, there are those times when you beat a team. I got to finish my throat lozenge.
Your throat lozenge? You got to throw. You're in the middle of a throat lozenge? Yeah,
I was
trying to talk when you want to talk a lot.
Exactly. I talk a lot. So, I just hey, listen, we had cold going around on the team, and I refuse to get sick.
That's right.
I'm not going to get sick. One thing I'm not doing especially on the road, I'm not a good sick person at all.
No, and I have to sit next to him on the plane, so that's out.
Right.
That's out. No sick.
I took my vitamin C airborne on the plane, so I'm ready.
I had a Coca-Cola. All right, go ahead.
So back to what I was saying.
Yeah.
They always played the game the right way through it all. And there's sometimes when you beat a team that bad, where the other team can say, well, you was you piling on, you were making a mockery of the game. They never did it.
Mm-mm.
And so because of it, it just kept getting bigger and bigger. And everybody that touched the floor did something.
Yeah.
And like you said, Zach Edey it was good to see. I thought Zach needed another bust out game. He had been playing well in an area here and an area, but it was nice to see it all come together for him.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And then the next night, go on the road to New Orleans. Jaren was just dominant. I mean, the dominant player that he's been this season. But I think what I take from those two games more than anything is, a lot of people have talked about the Grizzlies and their schedule and what they've done, and they've beaten up on a lot of bad teams. That's exactly right. Grizzlies have beaten up on the bad teams. And for the most part, a lot of those nights have left no doubt, have taken care of business against the bad teams in the league, like you're supposed to do. And I think the Grizzlies are getting that done. And, the Chicago game, you lost that in the fourth quarter,
right.
But it wasn't like you came out with a bad attitude to start the game. It was just you blew it. The two Brooklyn games, I don't know, maybe it's just a bad matchup with Brooklyn. But I feel for the most part, this team is really beating up on the teams you need to beat up on.
Whenever people start talking about the schedule as if it's something you chose.
And it's different than anybody else's.
You're gonna play all of the teams at some point. But the team that you're playing that day is the team you're playing. And if it's a team with a bad record, then you would expect to win those basketball games. Now, there are certain instances where you play against a Suns team, we're talking about when they're just below 500 at that moment. But you say, right. Is that really a 500 team or the team that should be better? So, I mean, go win who's on the schedule.
Yeah.
Whatever their record is, where they are, win the games on the schedule. And people can talk about, well, you're only doing it against, but if you were losing to those teams, it would be something totally different.
Yeah.
if you weren't beating those teams.
And New Orleans, not a place the Grizzlies have had a ton of success. So it's one of those that you're like, all right, good win. Let's go. Let's move on to the next one after that one.
Man, it was a nice way. They talked about starting the road trip with the home game.
Yeah.
And we talked about that was a must-win game. That having to win to beat Toronto.
Yeah.
And then the first one of the real road trip to New Orleans, it was like that's what gave you a little of the momentum to kick off going into New Orleans. If
you're going to have a good road trip, you have to start it with a win.
And they did just that. They went out and they did it. And you said just like Jaren was terrific.
And then went to Oklahoma City, and the word that I have is whooped. Got whooped. They were really good.
They were us playing against hurt teams.
Right.
Like they were a team who, of course, without Chet Holmgren, who didn't play in that game, but they were playing against a Grizzlies team who had now we got to that game and there's more people who were going to be out. And so once they looked over and saw, they didn't let down.
No.
They came out and SGA was himself. They had 30 plus and only 3 quarters. And the takeaway I had from that game was because I continued to try to say, why are they good? And it's the same questions people ask, why are the Grizzlies good? Like, you know that the main names of who they have, you know what they do. But then the other names are not household names.
No.
But what they are, they're really good basketball players, and they play excellent together. Defensively, we're a good defensive team, and how we get after. They're an excellent defensive team. One-on-one defense, the way that they switch, the pressure that they can put on you, and so I got it up close and personal to see why they are good, why they're a good basketball team.
Which makes it difficult because they get up 15 on you, it feels like 30.
And the thing about them is like they don't settle. Like they're not one of those teams that just settle for threes that'll give you the chance to get back in. They keep attacking the paint. They shoot mid range. They're gonna be a tough out. And the way they're talking with Holmgren, his progression is that he's gonna play again. Before the season is over.
They looked really good. That was a tough one. Grizzlies were beat up in the second quarter, and Oklahoma City never looked back. But then, and then we had plane troubles. I mean, seriously, all we wanted to do was get to Phoenix. We wanted to do was get to Phoenix because we had some days in Phoenix. We get to the airport, and the engine don't work. So what are you gonna do when the engine don't work? You're
gonna get the manual. You're gonna get the manual started. Somebody gonna go out there and crank it up.
And then that didn't work.
But I didn't want them to crank it up anyway because I didn't want no crank out while we was up there.
So we went back to the hotel, flew out the next day.
Missed my tea time.
Missed your tea time.
Luckily, hey, Raven Golf Course in Phoenix. I love you. Thank you. Shout out to you guys for refunding me that
that's
round.
Nice. That's cool. So we got to Phoenix, where it was just gorgeous. It was perfect place to be for the new year. And we go into Phoenix for the game, and my note for that is wow. Wow was the first word. Top 2 win of the year. I think right there with Boston for me.
Yes, it takes me as soon as when it was getting to that point, we coming down the end. It was like this is as big as if not bigger than the Boston win.
Yeah,
with what they had, and it was how they did it. 9 bodies out. 8 bodies playing, and we said we would have to get Super Dez, and Jaren was going to have to just be a little bit better than how great he's already been.
Yeah.
And God dog, where both of them live up to that to a T. And
awesome.
And but you again across the board. John God dog. Conchar was good again with the rebounding and the defense that he played on Kevin Durant.
Yeah. And he had a big 3 too.
A huge 3. I mean, so he was great. Luke Kennard I told Luke, we saw him today after practice. And I said, Luke, I didn't know that you had Curly Neal in you. Luke went on the wing. He hit it with the pit pat, between the leg crossover. Go to the lane, finish with the left hand on the right side. I said, okay, Luke.
I think you screamed on the broadcast, Luke Kennard is in his bag.
It was so much fun to watch them compete the way that they did.
Yeah, what a game. It was so much fun. That game was great.
Oh no, I'm be honest with you. I don't think I've ever really watched one of our games again.
Right.
Like, went back and watched it. I think when we get back to Memphis, I'm gonna sit down and watch that game again from beginning to end. Like it was
amazing to me at the end of the game to see that the Grizzlies had gone wire to wire because it felt tight the whole game. I mean, and every time Phoenix would get it to 4, or get it to 2, or late in the game when they tied it, the Grizzlies just punched right back. I mean, it was
awesome. They made a play.
Yeah.
It was fun. I'm gonna watch it again.
Yeah. All right. So the Grizzlies this week is going to here. We're staying here, playing a game against Sacramento Kings. Sacramento Kings are an interesting bunch. They fired their head coach, Mike Brown, last week, and which is
mind-boggling,
an odd move at this point of the season. And Sacramento now trying to right the ship because they are off to what would be a very disappointing start. There's no doubt about it being disappointing, but enough to fire your coach, I'm a little stunned.
Well, especially when you have had zero success in so long, and then you finally get a taste of it with him being your head coach. That there's really no grace or no rope given for them to turn it around. I mean, there's so much basketball still left. And there's going to be so many runs and maybe some lost runs by so many teams in the West because of how good the West is.
Yeah. So injury.
You see the way the injuries are coming. That you might as well just mark down that there's going to be an injury somewhere by someone. So you would figure that there had to have been disjointment with their team that they felt like it couldn't be fixed in any way, and that's why they had to go a different way. But it just
or possibly it's the Kings being the Kings.
Well, I was trying to be nice, but it's definitely the latter. But I was trying to give the people another version, another viewpoint of this. But at the end of the day, of course, it's the Kings being the Kings.
I mean, what are they doing?
The same thing they've done forever.
Who are you going? Well, you fire Mike Brown at the start of a season like this, and it's like they're around 500. They're not out of anything by any stretch of the imagination. And as you said, his past should speak for itself. Even if they were having an off year this year, he should get the benefit of the doubt for what he has done. So it's either got to be some deal with De'Aaron Fox or somebody, and De'Aaron Fox came out adamantly and said this had nothing to do with me or me and coach. I mean, nothing. So if that's not the case, what are they doing? I mean, who are you thinking today? That guy's better.
Yes,
that guy's better than Mike Brown.
That
Doug Christie.
That is the biggest question to be answered going forward. Who do you really believe is going to give you a better chance than this man that has given you gotten you to this point? I think before they went to the playoffs last couple of seasons, they have been 17 years.
Longest active streak in all of the 4 major sports.
Since they have been to a playoff. Yeah. He gets you to the playoffs, and you think all of a sudden y'all going to win the championship in the 3rd year?
Yeah.
That's unreal. That's
in the first 2 months of the season too.
It's just unreasonable. So that's why I say that I was trying to be nice, but you went there. But at the end of the day, it's Sacramento being Sacramento.
Whew, man, I thought they were maybe over some stuff.
I did too. They done a good job. The rain was good. Fans were back. They were winning. It seemed like they went out and they got another good coach. They had one in Mike Malone. They just let go, and so then they finally come around to another good one. You have success. You got some players in place, and then you just. But for whatever reason, you just jump and feel like we got to do something.
There's stupid beams at half mast.
so know what it is? Sometimes we get is those types. You've been so used to having to try to make a splash or do something all the time that when it's good and just steady, you don't know how to just let it be steady. You got a little dip and but we can. Yeah. It wasn't a drop off. It was a dip.
Yeah.
So you got a little dip, but you can always come back from that. But they're not accustomed to what it means to just bounce back.
Right.
They haven't bounced back in a long time.
They have the beam here in Sacramento. When they win a game, they light the beam, and the beam comes out of the arena and flashes up into the sky and everything.
It's really cool.
I was asked about it, and I thought, it's an all right deal. But the thing about it is, if you lose and the beam is lit and you're standing there in the arena, and as they're screaming, "Let the beam!" You're like, these people are idiots. This is dumb. And then you leave and you see this beam, and it's stupid. And then you drive and you get about 20 miles away from the arena, and you can still see the beam. Then you start to get pissed.
You try to say, F that beam.
Yeah, stupid beam. Oh, man. All right, and then we go to Golden State to wrap up the road trip. That'll be fun. Always fun to go to Golden State. And it looks like the Grizzlies are getting some people back, at least. Brandon and Zach and who else?
Jake LaRavia.
Jake LaRavia, yep.
Yeah, that is the good thing. And here's the other good side is that I expect for that. Remember I said when we beat Golden State in Memphis.
Yeah.
The last thing I said was, when we go to San Francisco, it's gonna be a fun basketball game.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be anything different. And we've seen this Grizzlies team have to deal with some physical basketball team. And I would not put Golden State in the category of a physical basketball team, but I would say that it's going to be a physical game because there's going to be a lot of emotions.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And so, but I think that this Grizzlies team has played against enough physical teams to know what to expect and how to play through it.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure why anyone expects to get straight answers from Taylor Jenkins. Michelin star level word salad served at every single press conference. He is nothing, all words, no substance, ever. Like, and it you do this on purpose. Like, he's a smart man. He went to Penn. Like, he graduated the Wharton School of Business. He is a smart man. He can articulate his thoughts, and he articulates it perfectly so where nobody has any idea what he's talking about. It is so frustrating.
Man, you're the first person I think that has pointed out his education and how that really does lend itself to how he talks. I mean, like, the dude is a professional at making sure
he talks like a calculator. He's like,
Tune into the Daily Grind with your host, Loot Hatmaker, every Monday through Friday at 7:30 a.m. live on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel. I think that Penny Hardaway has grown infinitely as a coach. He is more comfortable in his skin as a coach. He has made really strong decisions. Before the season started, he fired his coaching staff. He took a role player after giving him multiple chances to get back and get right with the team, told him to go away. Penny Hardaway made the decision for Tyreke Smith to not be on this team anymore.
He's better at dealing with bullshit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and then maybe it's not better at dealing with bullshit. He just cuts the bullshit out. He gets rid of it before he
put
has
up with
to
it.
deal with it.
I think that is, on top of all the other things you said, is one of the main reasons that we are going to see a different team, because Penny Hardaway is a different coach.
Tune into On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
All right, the Basketball Hall of Fame announced a list of eligible candidates for the class of 2025. All right. Candidates include Carmelo Anthony, Hall of Famer, right?
Yep.
Sue Bird, Hall of Famer. Maya Moore, Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
Dwight Howard, Hall of Famer.
I mean, I don't know what the criteria is anymore.
He was a dominant defensive player.
Yeah. Oh, yes. He was
dominant. And
all right.
I think Dwight's, it's a no-brainer for him. And he won a championship at the end. So that was good for him. Doc Rivers.
I don't know the criteria.
Yeah. That one's,
I don't know.
People's opinions, Doc Rivers, Hall of Famer. Billy Donovan, I think he's a Hall of Famer because he won back-to-back in college.
In Florida, I was about to say, if you are going to take, we're going to weigh heavily in on his college experience than anything else.
Yeah.
And I guess so. The Hall of Fame is the Basketball Hall of Fame.
It's basketball.
It's basketball. It's your entire everything that you've done.
Yes.
That puts you there.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Amari Stoudemire, who we are going to honor on MLK Day.
He was really good. He was a good player. I mean, excellent.
Yeah.
I don't Hall of Fame. Bro, we've had this talk.
I know
about the Hall of Fame for a long time, and I just think we've got to the point where we're just putting a lot of really good people
in the Hall of Good.
I mean, that's really what it's turned into. I mean, no disrespect for any of the people that get there, and it's not. I just think that there was, I would want it to be of a higher, something game changing that makes you
the Hall of Famer,
a Hall of Famer, like it, or come up with another thing that's like the Hall of Really Gooders,
the Hall Stars.
You know what I'm saying? You're in the All Star. You know, like it's like when you give a certain amount of money, and it's like and then you get those designations, right? And so. There's the last ones where you're like the gold, and then there's the tier below is like silver.
Yeah.
Like those you guys are silver. There's a lot of silvers.
So good.
Like this, but there shouldn't be the same amount of silvers as golds. You understand me? Like gold, there should be so many fewer golds than silver. Right now, I just feel like the silver and gold is the line has been blurred.
Blurred to the point where I look at a lot of players in the NBA and think, oh yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. And they haven't done anything, but it's ridiculous, like what they're scoring. You know, I mean, a guy will go 20-10 in his career, and it's like, Alpern Sengun, is he really a Hall of Famer? No. All right, Marc Gasol on that list as well. So I think Marc Gasol will be a Hall of Famer at some point because of his international play is a big part of it as well. All right, Luka is out a month with a calf strain. That's huge.
That's big. It puts Kyrie Irving back into a role that he was never fully successful in.
Yeah.
In terms of him being the guy that leads the basketball team to being able to be successful and all of the things that it takes to get a team to be great. And so he gets the chance to be that. But it's a big injury. A month's times of games where the West will be can be a huge flip, hang around where the Mavericks are at that time.
Lakers trade D'Lo to Brooklyn. Sure, he's going to really show out there. And Dorian Finney-Smith goes to the Los Angeles Lakers. Good move for the Los Angeles Lakers, right?
I don't think so.
No?
I mean, a good move because I don't know. I think what you were going, if you're just trying to get rid of D'Angelo Russell, yes,
I think that's part of it.
That's that. Then you were able to come up with a trade for him, but I just don't know if Dorian Finney-Smith. Like Dorian Finney-Smith is, and it's not. I don't think it's not a good trade because he's not a good player.
Mm-hmm.
He's excellent at what he does. I just don't know if that's what the Lakers needed in order to be better. I think the Lakers still need another dynamic player who can create something themselves, can make a play either for themselves or for somebody else. And they got too many people who are just reliant upon. And so if AD or if LeBron is not creating it, then how does it happen? Austin Reeves is a guy who's shown at least the willingness to do it. But after that, then who's the next person you say can go out and create something for somebody else or can get their own in some way? And Dorian Finney-Smith does that. I mean, it's the same. He's pretty much, Taurean Prince and he are pretty much the same player.
All right. Interesting. Former Laker Alex Caruso signed a 4-year extension for $82 million with Oklahoma City.
Happy for him.
Wow.
And listen to this. We were just talking about how good they are defensively one-on-one.
He's not even playing.
He ain't even playing.
Yeah.
So he just gives them another person that you put out there with size and someone with the willingness to want to get out there and get after it defensively. He just adds to their team.
Congratulations to the New York Football Giants, who decided they didn't want the first pick in the draft and decided to play hard and win last week.
Literally had to just lose one more game.
Just play. All they had to do is just play. Don't play hard. Just play. Just play. Just play.
Well, how about the Colts? That was the other thing I was mad at. Like I was mad because they weren't going to get now they're not going to get the first pick. And how about the Colts? You guys are playing for the playoffs, bro.
Yeah.
All you have to do is get one stop. You can't stop.
Yeah.
You can't stop a team that has done nothing all year on the offensive end. Hadn't won a home game all year.
No.
That's why I became a Ravens fan.
First time that almost happened since 2017. But they get the big win. Big win for the Giants. This week in the NFL, you got Minnesota and Green Bay. Or not Minnesota, Green Bay. Minnesota and Detroit for the number 1 overall seed in the NFC. I think that's kind of exciting. That's going to be a fun game. I am a Minnesota believer. I do believe. I don't think it's too far in the season now to not believe in Minnesota. But I do believe. I think Detroit's the best team in the NFL. So I'm going to pick, and it's at Detroit. So I'm going to pick Detroit to win this game.
Yeah, I think Detroit has gotten better defensively, which has helped them.
Yeah,
but because
they're banged up, but boy, they must really be deep the way that
they still compete. That's what I said, and for them to be able to still compete at that level and offensively just continue to be high powered.
Yeah, just
you tend that gives you just a thought that maybe they're just a little bit better.
Yeah.
Than Minnesota. But listen, Minnesota, Jefferson, I don't put anything past him being able to do something.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
And listen, Sam Darnold is somehow they resuscitate himself. He's back.
Sam Darnold. Who would have thought? The college football playoff, we watched Arizona, Texas. That was a lot of fun. Double overtime game.
Yeah, that was man,
almost for Arizona State. Almost.
I wanted Arizona State to win that so badly.
I did too.
4th down, man. Then you get to 4th down and 13, and I'm just like, if you on blitz, why you blitz everybody in the same gaps, in the same place,
right?
And then you get beat for the touchdown.
Yeah.
Gosh, but listen, give Texas credit.
Ohio State beat up on Oregon.
What was that?
Oregon looked like they were a team from the Mountain West.
Let me tell you what Oregon looked like. Oregon looked like a couple years ago, Oregon, when they would win the Pac-12 easily, and then as soon as they would play against another a school from the SEC or one of the blue bloods of football, they would just get waxed.
Yeah.
That's what. But it was like this year they had finally got to the point where the combination of speed with physicality with athleticism to be able to play, and then having multiple people to be able to compete. And all of a sudden they went out there and it's like they just turned the clock all the way backwards. Like it was
Ohio State's been the best team in football the last 2 weeks. It's the best they've played all season long. And if they continue what they're doing,
it's gonna be hard.
It's gonna be tough to knock them off.
5, 6, 7, 8 for the semifinals.
Yeah, Penn State beats Boise, and then Notre Dame knocks off Georgia. It's interesting. The first round of the playoffs, the home teams and favorites all won by double digits. The second round of the playoff, the teams that all had byes all lost in this round. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 all lost. Yeah.
Now they'll be looking next year like, well,
all right, how do we fix that? Yeah, that's exactly what they'll do. All right. I got a toast for you.
Yeah, toast?
Yeah.
All right.
Toast to Jitty, man.
Oh, man.
John Conchar has been playing his tail off and just getting rebounds after rebounds after rebounds. He wasn't in the lineup. And now all of a sudden he starts 2 games in a row and gets double-digit rebounds.
First game, 17 rebounds.
Yeah. Second one, 12.
12 rebounds in the second game.
Mm-hmm.
So for that, he's not John Conchar in these parts. He's Jitty.
Jitty. So shout out to Jitty. Toast for Jitty. I'm going to give him a toast. How was the golf in Arizona for you?
Golf was fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, I was upset.
Beautiful
like I said,
courses.
yeah, we played Camelback
Mm-hmm.
On the first day, and then the next day we played Biltmore, redone Biltmore. They had a brand new clubhouse and redid the course, and that was good. The greens were hard because it was brand new, but it was a good. Every day I walked around, I was just like, man, people that live here during this time, this is absolute heaven.
It's nice.
It's like to have the option to wear shorts and a t-shirt or sweatpants and you can put on a sweatshirt or jeans, like to have the options to wear what you want because the weather is right there at that perfect point. Oh, it was
wonderful. Yeah, I went out to Scottsdale and it was great because the restaurant bar that we went to, half of it's inside, half of it's outside. You know, the bar even extends to outside. And it's like, yeah, this is the life. I mean, I'm inside, but I'm outside.
No, the other cool part was no bugs.
No bugs,
The other thing, this is
shout out to Phoenix.
I'm about to say, just shout out Phoenix.
Toast Phoenix.
Nice toast of Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was
good.
That was good.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us here, I guess, today. We're going to finish right on time. I didn't even need to set an
alarm or anything. And another thing I'm going to tell people, don't ever walk up and challenge me to any type putting contest. Don't do it.
Saw someone learn their lesson today.
They learned the hard way today. You mess with BK, might tap that ass.
and he'll walk it off too, which is the best part.
It was so. I dropped the putter like sexual chocolate.
Sexual chocolate. You might remember him as Joe the policeman from one of the What's Going Down episode of That's My Mama. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Randy Watson.
Oh, that's a great. I'm watching that tonight.
That's fantastic. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Night Court. Happy New Year, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning in. And don't forget, if you're listening to the podcast, you can listen wherever you get your podcasts. But also, if you're listening, you can watch the podcast at the Bluff City Media YouTube channel as well. You can do that each and every week. And if you're watching, we thank you for watching as well. And make sure you leave comments and all that stuff. We like to check those out. So that'll do it for us. I'm Rob Fisher on Twitter at The Fish Nation, Brevin Knight at Brevin Knight 22 on Twitter. We'll do it again next week. See ya next week on Night Court.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Night Court podcast. If you enjoyed Rob and Brevin, hit that like button, subscribe to the Bluff City Media YouTube channel, and enjoy the content. We will see you back here next time.